Aisha, my daughter, we have made a decision. You are to be betrothed to Alhaji Ibrahim, a wealthy man in our village. Aisha's heart stopped. Alhaji Ibrahim, the old man with the leathery skin and the booming voice. She couldn't believe her ears. But Baba, Mama, she protested, her voice rising in panic. I don't want to marry him. I'm only 13. I want to go to school, to become a teacher, to see the world beyond our village. In the bustling village of Kano, where the sun painted the mud brick houses with hues of gold, young Aisha's world was turned upside down. She was just 13, with dreams as big as the vast of African sky. But fate had other plans for her. It all began one evening, as the sun dipped low on the horizon and the scent of spices filled the air. Aisha returned from fetching water at the village stream, her heart light with anticipation for the evening ahead. But as she entered her family's modest home, she found her parents deep in conversation with a group of elders from the village. Their faces were grave, and Aisha's heart sank like a stone in the river. Mama, Baba, what's happening? She asked, her voice trembling with fear. Her mother turned to her, eyes brimming with tears. Aisha, my dear, sit down. We have something important to tell you. Aisha obeyed, her stomach churning with dread. She knew in that moment that her life would never be the same again. Her father cleared his throat, his voice heavy with sorrow. Aisha, my daughter, we have made a decision. You are to be betrothed to Alhaji Ibrahim, a wealthy man in our village. Aisha's heart stopped. Alhaji Ibrahim, the old man with the leathery skin and the booming voice. She couldn't believe her ears. But Baba, Mama, she protested, her voice rising in panic. I don't want to marry him. I'm only 13. I want to go to school, to become a teacher, to see the world beyond our village. Her parents exchanged a pained look, but their resolve remained firm. Aisha, my child, her mother said gently, we understand your feelings, but this is the way things are done in our culture. We cannot defy tradition. Tears streamed down Aisha's cheek as she pleaded with them to reconsider, but it was no use. Tradition held sway over their hearts, and Aisha's fate was sealed. The days that followed were a blur of preparation and sorrow. Aisha watched helplessly as her parents busied themselves with arrangements for the wedding, her heart heavy with grief. Finally, the day of the wedding ceremony arrived. The village was alive with music and laughter, but for Aisha, there was no joy in the air. She felt like a lamb being led to the slaughter, her spirit crushed beneath the weight of expectation. And she stood before the elders and exchanged vows with Alhaji Ibrahim. Aisha felt a part of her soul wither and die. She was just 13, a child forced to shoulder the burden of adulthood before her time. And as the ceremony drew to a close and she was led away to her new home, Aisha couldn't help but wonder what her future held in store. Would she ever find happiness in the arms of a man she barely knew? Or was she destined to live out her days in quiet desperation, a prisoner of tradition and circumstances? Only time would tell. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting long shadows across the dusty roads of Kano, Aisha arrived at Alhaji Ibrahim's grand estate. The sight that greeted her took her breath away. Tall walls surrounded the compound, topped with gleaming shards of glass that caught the dying light and scattered it like diamonds across the earth. Guards stood watch at the gate, their faces impassive as they ushered her inside. Aisha's heart pounded in her chest as she stepped through the threshold, her eyes wide with wonder and fear. She had never seen such opulence before, such wealth and grandeur. It was like stepping into another world, a world where she was a mere stranger, a trespasser in her own life. But as she was led deeper into the heart of the estate, her wonder soon turned to despair. Everywhere she looked, she saw signs of Alhaji Ibrahim's wealth and power. Ornate tapestries adorned the walls, depicting scenes of battles and conquests. Servants scurried to and fro, their eyes downcast, their movements quick and efficient. And then there were the other wives, 5 women, each more beautiful and elegant than the last, greeted her with forced smiles and cold eyes. They were dressed in silks and satins, their jewels sparkling in the dim light of the evening. Aisha, welcome to our home, one of them said, her voice dripping with honeyed sweetness. I am Fatima, Alhaji Ibrahim's first wife, and these are my sisters. Aisha's heart sank as she realized the truth of her situation. She was not a bride, not a wife, but a mere pawn in a game of power and prestige. Alhaji Ibrahim had chosen her not out of love or desire, but out of a desire to increase his standing in the eyes of his peers. She tried to smile and nod along as the other wives chatted around her, but inside she was screaming. This was not the life she had dreamed of, not the future she had hoped for. She was just 13, a child caught in the tangled web of tradition and obligation. That night, as she lay in her bed, surrounded by silken sheets and plush pillows, Aisha cried herself to sleep. She prayed for a miracle, for a way out of this gilded cage that had become her prison. But deep down, she knew that her fate was sealed, her future already written in the stars. And so, she closed her eyes and tried to shut out the world, hoping against hope that someday, somehow, she would find the courage to break free and forge her own path in life. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, as Aisha settled into her new life at Alhaji Ibrahim's grand estate. But it was no life at all. It was a relentless cycle of servitude and submission, a never-ending struggle to please those who had power over her. From dawn to dusk, Aisha toiled under the watchful eyes of the other wives, her every move scrutinized and judged. They assigned her menial tasks and endless chores, treating her more like a servant than a member of the family. Fetch water, Aisha, Fatima, the first wife, would command, her voice sharp as a whip. Scrub the floors, Aisha. Prepare the meals, Aisha. And Aisha, with no choice but to obey, would nod silently and set about her tasks, her heart heavy with resentment and despair. But it was not just the other wives who made Aisha's life a living hell. Alhaji Ibrahim himself showed little interest in her well-being, treating her more like an object than a human being. He would come to her chamber late at night, his breath reeking of wine and his hands rough and demanding. And though Aisha fought back tears and tried to resist, she knew that resistance was futile. She was his wife now, his property to do with as he pleased. And so, night after night, she endured his advances, her body betraying her even as her spirit cried out for freedom. But it was not just the physical toll that weighed heavily on Aisha's heart. It was the knowledge that she was trapped, imprisoned in a life she never chose, with no hope of escape. She would lie awake at night, her pillow soaked with tears, as she dreamed of a life beyond the walls of the estate. A life where she was free to laugh and love, to pursue her dreams and follow her heart. But those dreams felt like nothing more than a distant fantasy, a cruel mockery of the harsh reality she faced each day. And so, Aisha resigned herself to her fate, her spirit battered and broken, her hopes dashed against the rocks of tradition and oppression. But deep down, beneath the layers of pain and despair, a spark still flickered within her, a spark of defiance, of courage, of the determination to one day break free from the chains that bound her and reclaim her destiny. For Aisha knew that no matter how dark the night, there was always the promise of a new dawn. And when that dawn finally came, she would be ready to seize it with both hands and never look back. As the days stretched into weeks and the weeks into months, Aisha's longing for freedom grew stronger with each passing moment. She watched the birds soar high above the estate walls, their wings outstretched in the boundless sky, and she yearned to join them, to feel the wind beneath her own wings. But alas, she was trapped, a prisoner in a gilded cage of tradition and duty. Every day felt like a lifetime. As she performed her task with a heavy heart and aching limbs, her spirit weighed down by the chains of oppression. And yet, despite the hardship she faced, Aisha refused to give up hope. Deep within her soul, a flicker of defiance burned bright, a stubborn refusal to surrender to the cruel whims of fate. Late one night, as she lay in her chamber, her thoughts consumed by dreams of freedom, Aisha had a soft rustling at the window. Startled, she sat up and peered into the darkness, her heart pounding in her chest. To her amazement, she saw a small figure crouched outside. With a trembling hand, Aisha crept closer, her pulse quickening with excitement and fear. As she drew nearer, she realized that the figure was none other than Zara, the youngest daughter of one of the estate servants who Alhaji Ibrahim also wanted to marry as his seventh wife. Zara's eyes were wide with fear, her breath coming in short, rage grasps. Aisha, she whispered, her voice barely audible above the gentle rustle of night breeze. I need your help. I need to escape. I don't want to marry Alhaji Ibrahim. Aisha's heart skipped a beat at the words, her mind racing with a thousand questions and possibilities. Could it be possible? Could she, Aisha, find a way to break free from the chains that bound her, to defy tradition and carve out a new destiny for herself? With a surge of determination, Aisha nodded her head, her eyes shining with newfound resolve. Yes, Zara, she whispered, I will help you. We will escape together. And so, under the cover of darkness, Aisha and Zara hatched a daring plan to flee the estate and seek refuge in the nearby village. With each step they took, their hearts pounded with excitement and fear, their breath coming in short, raged grasps. But as they neared the edge of the estate, disaster struck. Aisha stumbled on a loose stone and fell to the ground. With a cry of pain, her ankle twisted beneath her. Zara gasped in horror and reached out to help her, but it was too late. The sound of approaching footsteps echoed in the night, and before they knew it, they were surrounded by guards, their faces stern and impassive. Aisha's heart sank, as she realized the magnitude of their mistake. They had been caught, their hopes of escape dashed against the rocks of reality. But even in the face of defeat, Aisha refused to give up hope, for she knew that as long as there was breath in her, there was still a chance, however slim, of finding freedom and reclaiming her destiny. And so, as the guards led them back to the estate, Aisha vowed to herself that she would never stop fighting, never stop dreaming, until the day she was finally free. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. As Aisha nursed her wounded spirit in the confines of Alhaji Ibrahim's estate. But despite the heavy weight of despair that pressed down upon her, a glimmer of hope flickered in the depth of her soul, a tiny flame that refused to be extinguished. It was on a sweltering afternoon, as Aisha toiled beneath the scorching sun, that she overheard whispers of a secret route out of the village, a path to freedom that had long been forgotten. The words floated to her ears like a melody, filling her heart with a newfound sense of purpose and determination. Could it be true? Could there really be a way out of this prison that had been her home? With trembling hands and racing thoughts, Aisha began to plan her escape. She stole moments whenever she could, poring over maps and charts, memorizing every twist and turn of the hidden path that would lead her to freedom. But she knew that she could not embark on this journey alone. She needed help, a companion to share the burden and the risk of their daring escape. And so, with a heart full of trepidation and hope, Aisha sought out Zara, the young girl whose whispered plea had ignited the spark of rebellion within her. Zara, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, I have heard of a way out of this village, a path to freedom. Will you join me? Will you help me escape? Zara's eyes widened in surprise and fear, her hands trembling at the thought of the risk they would face. But beneath the surface, Aisha could see the same flicker of the fires burning bright, the same longing for freedom that had brought them together in the first place. Yes, Aisha, Zara whispered, her voice steady with determination. I will help you. We will escape together. And so, with their plans laid and their resolve firm, Aisha and Zara began to make preparations for their daring journey. They gathered supplies and provisions, stole moments of secrecy whenever they could, and counted down the days until the time was right. But as the day of their escape drew near, disaster struck once again. Alhaji Ibrahim grew suspicious of their whispered conversation and secret meetings, and he doubled the guards and tightened security around the estate. Aisha's heart sank at the sight of the increased patrols and the watchful eyes that followed her every move. It seemed as though their dreams of freedom were slipping further and further from their grasp. But even in the face of adversity, Aisha refused to give up hope, for she knew that as long as there was breath in her body, there was still a chance, however slim, of finding the path to freedom and reclaiming her destiny. And so, with a steely determination burning bright in her heart, Aisha vowed to herself that she would never stop fighting, never stop dreaming, until the day she was finally free. As the moon hung high in the night sky, casting its silvery glow over the sleeping village of Kano, Aisha and Zara prepared to make their daring escape. With hearts pounding and nerves on edge, they moved silently through the shadows, their every step guided by the flickering flame of hope that burned bright within their souls. Their plan was simple yet risky. They would slip a sleeping substance into the guards' drinks, causing them to doze off into a deep slumber, allowing Aisha and Zara to make their escape under the cover of darkness. With trembling hands and battered breath, they approached the guards' quarters, their hearts hammering in their chest. Aisha's hands shook as she poured the powder into the guard's water skins. Her pulse quickened with each passing moment. But despite the fear and uncertainty that threatened to overwhelm them, Aisha and Zara remained resolute in their determination to break free from the chains that bound them and reclaim their right to freedom. And then, with a silent prayer on their lips, they watched as the guards drank deeply from their water skins, their eyes growing heavy with drowsiness as the effect of the sleeping substance took hold. Aisha and Zara exchanged a triumphant glance, their hearts soaring with the knowledge that their plans had succeeded. With swift and silent movements, they slipped past the sleeping guards and out into the cool night air, their footsteps muffled by the soft earth beneath their feet. As they made their way through the village, their senses heightened with the thrill of their escape. Aisha and Zara felt a surge of adrenaline course through their veins. They were finally free, free to chart their own course and forge their own destiny, free from the shackles and oppression and tyranny. But their journey was far from over. With every step they took, they knew that danger lurked around every corner, that their freedom was a fragile and precious thing, easily snatched away by those who sought to control and dominate them. And yet, despite the risks and the uncertainty that lay ahead, Aisha and Zara pressed on, their spirits unbroken, their resolve unwavering, for they knew that as long as they had each other, as long as they had the fire of hope burning bright within their hearts, they would never be truly alone. And so, hand in hand, they ventured forth into the unknown, their faces turned towards the horizon, towards a future filled with endless possibilities and boundless freedom. For they were warriors, survivors, sisters in arms, and nothing could stand in their way as they embarked on the greatest adventure of their lives. With the moon as their only guide and the stars as their witnesses, Aisha and Zara fled into the night, their hearts pounding with adrenaline and fear. Every rustle of the wind, every snap of a twig beneath their feet sent shivers down their spines as they ventured further and further from the safety of Alhaji Ibrahim's estate. Their escape had been swift and daring, but now they faced a new challenge. The vast and unforgiving wilderness that stretched out before them, a labyrinth of shadows and dangers lurking in every corner. As they ventured deeper into the unknown, Aisha and Zara encountered countless obstacles and dangers. They navigate treacherous terrain, their feet slipping on loose rocks and tangled roots, their breath coming in short, raged gaps as they struggled to keep pace with the relentless rhythm of their flight. But despite the odds stacked against them, their spirits remained unbroken. They held each other close, drawing strength from the warmth of their embrace. As they pressed onward, their eyes fixed with the horizon, their minds consumed by thoughts of freedom and liberation. And yet, even as they fled, the specter of danger loomed larger on the horizon. They knew that they were not alone in the wilderness, that there were others who would stop at nothing to bring them back to Alhaji Ibrahim's estate and the life of servitude from which they had fled. Their hearts raced with fear as they heard the distant sounds of pursuit, the echoing footsteps of their pursuers, drawing closer with each passing moment. But Aisha and Zara refused to surrender to despair. They had come too far, fought too hard to let themselves to be caught now. With every ounce of strength and determination they possessed, they pushed themselves to their limits, their bodies aching with exhaustion, but their spirits burning bright with defiance. They would not be defeated, not now, not ever. And so they pressed on, their eyes fixed on the faint glimmer of hope that beckoned to them from horizon. They knew that their journey would be long and perilous, filled with challenges and obstacles beyond their widest imagination. But they also knew that as long as they had each other, as long as they had the fire of hope burning bright within their hearts, they would never be truly alone. As Aisha and Zara journeyed through the wilderness, their bond grew stronger with each passing day. They faced trials and tribulations as tested their resolve. But through it all, they discovered an inner strength they never knew they possessed. With each step forward, they shed the shackles of fear and doubt that had once held them captive, their spirits soaring with the knowledge that they were finally taking control of their own destinies. But their journey was far from easy. They faced hunger and thirst, exhaustion and despair as they traversed the rugged terrain of the wilderness. Yet, they refused to give up, drawing strength from each other and from the burning desire for freedom that blazed within their hearts. And then, one fateful day, they stumbled upon another village nestled amidst the forest of the countryside. The villagers welcomed them with open arms, their faces aglow with kindness and compassion as they listened to Aisha and Zara's story of hardships and struggle. An elder of the village, a wise and gentle soul, with eyes that twinkled with wisdom, took them under his wing, offering them shelter and protection from the dangers that lurked beyond the village gates. We may not have much, he said, his voice soft and gentle, but we have each other, and that, my dear children, is worth more than all the riches in the world. Under the elder's guidance, Aisha and Zara found solace and sanctuary, a safe haven where they could heal their wounds and rebuild their shattered spirits. They were sent back to school, where they excelled in their studies and earned the admiration and respect of their peers. But it was not just their academic achievements that set them apart. It was their strength of character, their resilience in the face of adversity, that truly marked them as remarkable young women. As they grew and thrived in the village, Aisha and Zara found themselves surrounded by love and support, their past hardships fading into distant memories as they embraced the promise of a brighter future. Meanwhile, back at Alhaji Ibrahim's estate, anger and frustration boiled over in the wake of Aisha and Zara's escape. Alhaji Ibrahim raged and ranted. His fury knew no bounds as he berated his guards for their failure to keep the girls in check. But despite his best efforts, he could not erase the memory of Aisha and Zara's defiance, nor could he quell the fire of rebellion that burned bright within their hearts. And so, as Aisha and Zara swore never to return to their village again, they set forth on a journey filled with hope and possibility, a journey that would take them wherever their hearts desired. For they knew that no matter where life took them, as long as they had each other, as long as they had the strength and courage to face whatever challenges lay ahead, they would always find a way to prevail. And with that knowledge burning bright within them, they ventured forth into the great unknown, ready to embrace whatever adventures awaited them on the road ahead. As the golden rays of the morning sun battered the world in light, Aisha emerged from the shadows of her past, a survivor, a warrior, a symbol of hope for all who dared to dream of a better life. With each step she took, she felt the weight of her burdens lift from her shoulders, replaced by a sense of purpose and determination that burned bright within her soul. Beside her, Zara walked tall and proud, her head held high as she gazed out upon the world with eyes that sparkled with hope and possibility. Together, they had overcome the trials and tribulations of their past, forging a bond that was stronger than steel and unbreakable than any force in the universe. Their journey had been long and arduous, filled with challenges and obstacles that tested their resolve at every turn. But through it all, they had remained steadfast in their determination to carve out a new destiny for themselves, one filled with promise and opportunity. And now, as they stood on the threshold of a new beginning, the possibilities stretched out before them like an endless horizon, beckoning them towards a future of their own making. We did it, Aisha, Zara said, her voice filled with wonder. We made it through the darkness, and now the light awaits us. Aisha smiled, her heart overflowing with gratitude and joy. Yes, Zara, she replied, her voice steady and strong. Together, we have conquered our fears and embraced our dreams. Now, let us step boldly into the future and seize the life that we deserve. And with that, hand in hand, they ventured forth into the world, their hearts filled with hope and their spirit ablaze with determination. They soon graduated from the university, their minds enriched with knowledge and wisdom, thanks to the guidance of the Good Samaritan, who had taken them in and shown them kindness and compassion in their time of need. Aisha became a teacher, her passion for learning and education, inspiring generations of young minds to reach for the stars and chase their dreams. Meanwhile, Zara pursued her dream of becoming a medical doctor, using her skills and expertise to heal the sick and comfort the afflicted. Together, they became beacons of hope and inspiration in their community, using their knowledge and wisdom to uplift and empower those around them. They traveled back to their village, only to discover that Alhaji Ibrahim was no more, his reign of terror at an end. Reconnecting with their families and their roots, Aisha and Zara shared their experiences and their knowledge, spreading the message that forcing a child into marriage was not only evil but also a dream killer. They worked tirelessly to rebuild their community, laying the foundations for a brighter future where every child could grow up free from fear and oppression, with the opportunity to chase their dreams and fulfill their potential. And as they looked out upon the world that stretched out before them, Aisha and Zara knew that their journey was far from over, for as long as there were justice to be righted and dreams to be chased, they would continue to fight for a better tomorrow. With hearts full of hope and hands ready to rebuild a brighter future for all. And with that, their story came to an end, a testament to the power of courage, resilience, and the indomitable human spirit. The story of Aisha and Zara highlights the devastating consequences of child marriage, a practice that robs young girls of their childhood, their education, and their future, forced into unions with much older men. Girls like Aisha are denied the opportunity to pursue their dreams, trapped in a circle of poverty, abuse, and despair. Child marriage perpetuates a cycle of inequality and oppression, depriving girls of their basic human rights and perpetuating harmful gender norms. The implications are far reaching, affecting not only the individual girls themselves, but also their families, communities, and society as a whole. It perpetuates poverty, perpetuates cycles of violence, and undermines efforts to achieve gender equality and sustainable development. It is imperative that we work together to end child marriage and ensure that every girl has the opportunity to grow up safe, healthy, and empowered to reach her full potential. Thank you for watching this amazing story about Aisha on African Stories. If you liked it and felt inspired with her journey, please show your support by clicking the like button, sharing with your friends, and leaving a comment below. To see more interesting stories and learn about different cultures, subscribe to African Stories and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Your support means a lot and helps us bring more stories to you. Until we meet again, stay connected, stay inspired, and keep smiling.